Well, hi, I'm Stauffer. I am here working at Springbuk for the summer as a software engineering intern. I go to school at the University of Pittsburgh over in Pennsylvania, studying computer science there. I'm about halfway done with my degree right now. Took a semester off to go work at Disney this past spring, so that was fun. Yeah, hey Troy, you want to talk about yourself?
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Troy Wiegand. What was I supposed to say? Oh yeah, I told you what to say.
Where are you doing your externship?
I'm doing my externship at.
Do you want me to hold the mic?
I can do both. Okay.
Troy's got it.
I'm doing my. There's my mouse. Okay. I'm doing my externship at Kinney Group. They do IT, data science, cloud shenanigans.
There we go.
I think they have a more accurate description, but that's the one I'm going to go with right now. I go to Butler University. There we go. And I study math and computer science there. And now we're going to talk about what we did. Okay, let me get this up. Oh!
Where'd you get Troy?
Maybe it's gonna.
What is that?
It's my computer.
Troy has a weird computer.
It's not weird.
It's weird.
Units.
I don't know how to help you, Troy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there we go!
Yay!
Troy did it!
Oh gosh, this looks so jank on my screen. Don't want you to. Okay. So I don't know. How do we want to talk about this?
What's your
Well,
idea?
let's do the foundation for how we started to do this talk. And so I'm going to give it to Ashley to give some historical context. And also I'm going to ask her to move closer to me, so that way I don't feel like she's forever away.
Okay.
Well, at the last React.Indy meetup, at the end of it, Amber was like, hey, Ashley, you want to give a talk? I was like, ah. And she was like, hey, does Troy want to give a talk? I'm like, hey, Troy, you want to give a talk? He's like, heck yes, I do. And then we agreed to it and asked Troy for some ideas, and he had a few. And he came up with this one called the Resumé Stack website.
Love it. Fantastic.
It's a lovely idea. You should explain it.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea. How well this idea got for tonight, we'll see. But basically, this premise was, I borrowed this idea actually from my friend who's in the audience right now, Dave Purdom. Thank you, Dave Purdom. If you'd like to wave. That's my friend, Dave Purdom. And basically, the premise is, we don't want to have to like actually do anything for a resume. Like, I don't want to format that stuff. So what if we just automated changing stuff in our resume, so that way we can just change one file and then like it could populate everywhere we needed it. The place where we like to keep our resume on our computers. If we had it hosted somewhere on some website, it would just change all that automatically for us. So we're like, how could we do that? And the base version of that is we have like this database file, and we have things like, oh, here are classes. Oh, let me make that a little bit bigger. I don't know how to make it bigger on this screen. But yeah, we have classes and like education and like experience, work and whatnot. And like, what if we could just change slight things here and then output to, yeah, I want to open this VS Code. And we could get a resume from it. That'd be pretty cool. And that's kind of what we did. There's this thing that math people use a lot called LaTeX. And it's basically because how do I typeset math symbols through code? So that's how we do it. And so I wrote this Python script forever ago, well, not forever ago, but about a month and a half ago, to basically query that database, make this file for me, and then output it to this PDF. But the thing is, it's over one page, And if there's one thing anyone, like everyone and their mother tells me about resume stuff is it needs to only be a page. So how can we easily edit this in a way to do that? So we decided let's just have some graphical user interface or a React app so we could react with the information. So this is where we're at right now. We basically, we have this lovely API that we wrote that, I don't know how to read. Okay, there we go. Let me full screen this. That's not the one I wanted to full screen. Yeah, so we have this API, and basically all it does is it will run a query in either the Troy database or the Ashley database for us to figure out what's going on. It'll turn back some JSON object that is the result of that SQL query. And then, once we have that, then over here, we're then able to display it in this format. And you can see stuff. And that's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff we wanted to do here that kind of fell through because we don't know what we're doing, and we're just interns. And so, yeah, Ashley can help save me a little bit here.
So some of the things that Troy was looking to do is have a preview of the PDF. So on the side here, we do a preview, and then we would like to be able to have like a button alongside each of these so you could take them on and off. And if you took one off, it'd update the preview over on the side so you could see how long your PDF was, whether it was a page or not. Probably even add an option to add extra things to these lists and make it more interactive. So you could just use this right here and just add and take things away as you want to, as you update your resume. So it's definitely something we're looking to do. And then probably something I would do is add like a PDF download so you could download it right from there and have it ready to go.
Yeah. And then also like in a world where we had time, effort, and resources, because right now we just have all this obviously just locally hosted. But if we had our API that did all that did all the database interaction, also hosted the PDFs as well, we could have things where once that information gets updated in there, it could then send out to other places where we may have it, like our own personal websites or something like that. Also, additionally, some things that we thought that we could do. I have some notes here. But yeah, so not only the adding and deleting stuff, but editing elements that are already in there. And also like saving different types of like layouts and formats. So if we go back here, you can see it looks like this. Like this is mine, but Ashley would probably want to make some things a little differently because she knows how to make things actually look good. Unlike me. So she would probably want to tweak some things with how certain layouts are. And we could save that, we could have like presets for how you do this. And maybe potentially this could be a tool that we could just like, hey, person that we were friends with or wants to make a resume, use some of, do you want to use the Troy template or like the Ashley template for doing the resume or whatever? And we could continue this moving forward like that. Doing some of these front-end interactions with me were very rough. I'm a very back-end kind of guy. I really enjoy making the API side of this and figuring out how to do some of the requests back and forth between the React app and that. But some of the front-end stuff is really not my jam. And I'm trying to embrace my front-end side more was something I wanted to get from working with this. And I realized I can't. and say something else, in contrast to what I just said.
Well, I definitely do not know how to do any of the back-end stuff that Troy's done. So I was here entirely as front-end support. Yep. I would definitely like to improve upon this, make it a lot more React-y. It is basically just an HTML right now. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But you can totally make a ton of components out of this. It look great.
Yeah.
It look really great. Yeah.
Do you want to show the code? Do you want to talk about what you've written, what you've done so far?
Yikes.
It doesn't have to be good.
Look at that.
It doesn't have to be good. It's
You don't
okay.
want
We're
to.
all learning and growing.
This is
Sure.
10
Actually, be
Okay.
proud of what you've accomplished and also throw some blame at Troy.
Yeah, you can put me on
This
blast.
is what happens when I can't use the code until 10:30 last month. It's fine.
Okay. That's very accurate. But also, we did, both of us didn't start until Thursday, so this is fun. Yeah, so I wrote this, so I wrote this API using Express.js because, sure, JS is React-y, so let's try to embrace that more than like other things I could have written it in. And I don't know, this is, I believe, Basic Express. I learned all of this Saturday night to try to figure out how to work with this. But yeah, I just have a nice little, I set up the database connection using SQLite 3. And then there's the Troy database and the Ashley database. Nice little test thing there. And then so if they send a GET request to the API /database/Troy/whatever their SQL query is, then it'll just return that result in JSON. And the same thing for the Ashley side. And this is part of the cool getting the PDF stuff working that I was fighting with for a very long time. Was how do I take the LaTeX string that we generate on the React side from people clicking stuff, not clicking stuff, and actually make a PDF out of it. And we almost really got there.
Hey, Troy, you've got a question.
Oh, I have a question.
So there's a program called Pandoc. You can take like LaTeX documents or anything and turn them into anything else.
Yes, that's a very accurate thing. Is there a Pandoc extension for like JavaScript?
You could just fork a process and shove it in there.
Heck. That would have made a lot of things easier with our lives. Yes, I agree with your sentiments. I didn't realize there was a Pandoc.js thing. I should have looked at that.
It's not a JS thing, it's just a program, but
Well, yeah. Well, now I'm confused.
Perhaps
Okay.
you can chat about it later.
Yeah, perhaps we can chat about Pandoc later. I'm a big fan of Pandoc, but like, but yeah, so I wanted to, basically what we did was we have the string that gets made in a very clumsily written JS function on the React app side, sends in the body the LaTeX. The LaTeX is part of the body, and then it writes that to a file from wherever this API would be hosted, and theoretically we would host it like on some cool cloud place instead of our local machines. And then we have it so that way I put some ls statements in there because I was confused and wanted to make sure it was happening correctly. But like it sees these downs in folder and it saves it and then actually runs the conversion to a PDF. And it actually does make the PDF. So if I go here and click here, yeah, I want to open it. It does actually make it every time I reload the website. We just don't have the ability for it to be selective as we wanted. So again, that'd be another thing that we'd be striving towards in the future. Yes, Dave Purdom.
Can you change stuff in the SQLite editor when you looked at the database? Do you have it set up so if you made changes to that database file, you could see the changes here?
Yes, because we could just have a SQL query that instead of querying the database updates or changes or deletes things, and then we would see that change happen. Yes. But we don't have any like built-in GUI shenanigans for that.
Do you have non-GUI shenanigans that you could demonstrate and show us changes and see if,
Yes, we could do that.
can you show me that?
I will. Ashley, could you open the mic for a second? Thank you.
Ashley, I have a question.
Yes,
How did you get the React app up and running?
that was entirely Troy's work.
Troy,
He did a good job with that.
that's surprising considering you said you couldn't do the front end.
Yep, that was all
You
Troy.
spun up a React app?
He did.
It actually took way more effort than I thought.
How did you do it?
So there's this really wonderful utility called Create React App. You would be surprised. Something I learned, apparently when you node install React on Unix machines, for some reason Create React App doesn't automatically show up there, so you had to do some more digging, and I had to individually install Create React App, and that took me way too long to figure out. That was like 30 minutes of my Saturday.
That's not bad.
That's not that bad, but it felt pretty heartbreaking in the moment.
So what does the app look like from a code standpoint on the React side?
Show it.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
It's pretty rough right now. It was made from 10:30 last night
Oh, nice.
through this afternoon. A few hours.
Yeah, so
So,
as you say things, I'll navigate.
alright, so in order to get all of the database data into state, Troy had to do a bunch of requests, and they were all done separately based on classes and experience and work and skills and stuff like that. So I was having issues with the page rendering before state was completely loaded, so I had to add a loading state to each one of these, and then once they turned false, once all of them went false, the page would be able to
That's all.
load properly.
Yeah,
That's also on here is all of the code to do the PDF stuff, which I don't understand,
yeah, so
but it's there.
there's that loading.
Yeah, that's a constant that will. Yeah.
Where do you make your API call? Which lifecycle method?
Component did mount, I believe it is.
I think that's
they're
right.
all in component did mount.
Yeah.
I believe
Sure?
so. That's all. I think that's
Will
all.
mount.
No.
Will mount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you're.
I tried component did mount and I still have the same problem. I tried
Okay.
all of them. They didn't work. I don't understand much about those. Not yet, at least. But yeah, so I had to do that for all those. Want to scroll down to the bottom?
Yeah. Where am I scrolling to?
All the way to the bottom.
To render?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what render is.
Yeah. So basically, at the top of the page, there's a button to toggle between Troy's resume and my resume, and then I would show loading if it hadn't finished all the requests yet. Otherwise, it would display resume. Can we go to resume?
Sure. Oh, is that this thing?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
You can scroll down a little bit if
Yeah.
you like. So,
Oh,
no, you can go down.
I'll keep going.
No, you're good. So basically, I created a bunch of divs here, and there'd be one for each like the topics, whether it was skills, work, whatever, and then to get all of the items in the list bullet, I backed over them and then returned a div for most of them. Added some styles to it. I was hoping to use style components, but it didn't end up working as I was hoping, so I had to go with traditional CSS, but it works. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, they can ask them, but we go for it.
Yes, Dave?
So how long have you guys known React?
Oh, yeah, we were gonna talk about that during the intro, but then we forgot to talk about that during the intro. So, I have 3 weeks of React bootcamp experience from Extern Bootcamp, powered by Fretless. And that's all I have. How about Ashley? How much have you done?
I also did that same extern bootcamp.
That's where we met.
Yeah, that's where we met. So yeah, I did that last summer, and then I did some video tutorials while I was at Disney this past spring, and then I've been using React all summer here at Springbuk. So I've been working with it a good bit.
Thank you, wonderful question, Dave. Yes.
If you guys could, what would your first refactor be?
I definitely make a lot more components out of this stuff, for sure. And I definitely want style components back in. I would also definitely like to change all of the requests that are done and redo all of that, so they look less bad and they work better. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the request to make them up look bad. Probably have like a, now this would have been smart if we just had the API to just one place where it just did all of the querying that we needed and then put it in one object. These are small little things that, because we have no experience, don't think of immediately, and we just do the first thing that comes to our heads, which is mostly inefficient and wrong. But we're here, we're thriving, and that would be the first thing, and secondarily would be to actually have, the main feature I would like want to add with this would be to have ability for when you, on our, let me just pull it. Over here, that instead of just, that those be like buttons, or there being something there so that way you can toggle certain aspects of this on and off. So that way, and then it actually redo the PDF appropriately for that. That'd be like the biggest thing I want. Yeah. Any other, any more questions? Yes, hello.
What did you learn in doing this, and what did you learn working together?
Would you like to start, Ashley?
I definitely learned. Start a lot earlier, that's for sure. Especially when you have lots of backend work to do. Much earlier. But I had a good time learning how to throw together some front end stuff pretty quick. It was a good time. Doing some nice like midnight coding.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything better for me?
Yeah. Well, not better, but in addition. Initially, I had lots of fun. I learned how to write an API for this. Also, I think the biggest lesson I learned is when I see a GitHub page for a node package that looks like it'll solve all my problems, to actually make sure it will solve my problems before allowing other things to pile up and letting this sit on the back burner. Because there may have been a series of 5 different GitHub pages for node packages that it's like, oh yeah, this will just solve everything. This is like a PDF viewer and LaTeX compiler in one. It's been broken for 3 years. Oh gosh. maybe I should have looked at issues before I actually did anything with it. But yeah, yeah, that's actually my number one thing. Know the technologies you want to use before you commit to things.
Are you gonna continue to work on this?
I think we might. I would like to. I don't know about what the heck Ashley's doing with her life.
I'm down. I
Yeah,
don't have anything better to do.
yeah. Like after August 2nd, I have like 3.5 weeks of free time or something like that. I'm looking to Dave because we start school at the same time. But yeah, you want to work on it then, Ashley? Maybe we come back in like some amount of time and how much it's improved, and we'll have the video evidence of how bad and garbage it used to be, and how much we've improved. Do you have anything to say about
Not
that?
at all.
Wonderful.
So maybe I missed it. What database do you guys use again? And why? Because why do you choose that?
So we just have like local database files
Okay.
that I kind of just arbitrarily made based off what I think made sense about like 2 months ago when I wrote the smaller version of it that just did the conversion to PDF stuff. There was really like, there's probably also lots of improvements that can be made on that side as well, but that's another topic for a different meetup.
What technologies have you been using in your internship, Troy?
Oh, what technologies have I been using in my internship? So, at Kinney Group, we're really, oh actually I just got a sticker today. This one right here, it says Splunk at the bottom. We use this thing called Splunk, and it's, I forget what the technical term is for what it is. It's like a framework thing for helping to process large amounts of like machine and analytics stuff. And what I've been using it for, as long as me in conjunction with another extern that works at Kinney Group, we've been taking a lot of the company's internal data and putting it all in one place. So all of our like Office 365, firewall, phone system, and just like having that one place for like the executive leadership team to be like, oh, things are looking good. There's green boxes, yay. And through that, I've been doing a lot of, I don't know. I ran a lot of really jank Python scripts to help get data in through weird API calls, which is also why I wanted to do this, because this involved using an API. But I hadn't actually written an API myself. I was like, oh, that might be useful. But yeah, I've done a lot of little things. I did some network packet sniffing to try to capture some data from our phone system as it was leaving. It's been weird, but yeah. Was that good?
Oh yeah, no. Did they make you dress up?
No, they actually make fun of me because this was like the second week, someone from people operations, commonly known everywhere else as HR, said, Troy, you know you don't have to dress up every day. And so the next day I found, well, I have these pair of dress pants that look like denim. And I wore those. And I also wore like a shirt with fireworks and like American flag Chuck Taylors. And she said, she was just like very confused. Like, I don't know what else to say, she was just confused.
It's a beautiful story.
Thank you. Yes.
Given your experience with React over the last 3 weeks, how do you feel about diving deeper into the React ecosystem? You know, there's a lot of things that Facebook created and that were created as a result of React. So how do you feel about Redux, GraphQL, some of those other spin-off technologies?
Okay. So I know a little bit. I don't know any those other things you said besides Redux. I know what that is.
Technically React, but
Redux is like the thing. It's like the purple logo and it's like swirling. And it manages a state in a weird way, right? Something like that.
it manages state in a way that you can like travel back in time and it
Oh.
pure functions and fun, yeah. You don't necessarily need it, but it's fun to play with.
Yeah, actually, so the boot camp that we met at was a year ago. And back when this meetup was in a very different state in its life, I actually went to that where they were doing an intro on Redux. And all I remember was what I just said about the logo and weird state things. So either I need to pay more attention, or it's been too long, or I need to actually use it to learn things. I think it's the last one. But yeah, I hope that ends a little bit, yes. I think I would, out of the more front-endy things I've interacted with, I think I like React and like JSX type stuff more than other things.
I've heard of GraphQL. It was used a little bit in some of the videos that I watched this past spring. I don't remember a ton about it, but it was cool seeing what they did with it in there. Springbuk was starting to use Redux. I haven't been able to touch it myself, but like, the concept of it, I really like it. I'd like to be able to, I like to learn how to use it a bit more, but haven't gotten into it yet. So someday, hopefully, I want to keep with React. So I'm sure it'll be Redux eventually.
Well, the Redux stocks have really improved, so you might even be able to just go to Redux there. You don't have to be an expert.
Oh, hello.
What do you want to do after college?
What do I want to do after college? Oh, my Atlanta. I'm honestly really torn between doing stuff, like literally anything, really, I think I'm down for. Like anything that's remotely CS-y. I think about going to grad school and becoming a CS professor sometimes, and then I'm like, oh, I just butchered that talk, so I don't know if I'm good at talking for 50 minutes 3 times a week. I don't know. I need to figure that out though, being a rising senior and all. But yeah, thank you for asking that question. Ashley, would you like to answer it?
Sure. I like front end a lot, so I definitely want to do like front end work after I graduate from college. Maybe go full stack. It depends. Not sure. I'm either going to stay in Pittsburgh, come back to Indy, one or the other. We'll see. Got a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar question. How did you get into computer stuff?
Okay. So, yeah, so the question was, how did we get into computer-y stuff? And, I don't know, as a child, my folks owned a hardware store back home, and I'd always like help them with updates to like the point of sale system and stuff like that. But I originally actually went to college as an actuarial science major, and then quickly realized I hated it. Every time the people would send information about job postings and stuff, I was like, oh, I don't think I really like this kind of stuff. And at the time, I was taking Intro to CS because we have to take Intro to CS as actuarial science majors at Butler. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I also really like math stuff. I'll just switch to math and CS double major. And it's worked out since. So I think it's fun.
My path is a little bit different. Basically, when I was in middle school and high school, they had us take all these tests where you answer all these questions, and they're like, oh, you'd be good at this, or you might like this. And I pretty much followed that. And here I am. It worked out. I enjoyed it a lot. So those tests work sometimes. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah.
what's the next feature you would add to this?
Oh, yeah, so the next feature I would add, I think,
Previews, mentioned.
yeah, I've mentioned it, but yeah, it would be the wonderful world of, for example, let's say being, for some reason, going to Disney World and working in Disney World wasn't relevant for Ash's career, which I don't know a world in which that ever is. But I need to, also, little jank something happened with the, I thought you fixed that.
I did, but I didn't pull it.
I guess I didn't pull that change where one of my line items from my database stayed in Ashley's database. But that's fine, because we just copied it over and then she edited stuff, so that way structure would be easily the exact same. But oh yeah, so let's actually use that as an example then. Say she needs to get that off Resumé, she can just click it and then it goes away, and then the PDF that gets rendered from the LaTeX doesn't have that anymore. That would be the number one thing, because that's what I want the most out of this. Because I got really disappointed when I wrote this like 2 months ago, like the original base thing, and I was like, oh, it's slightly over a page. How do I know what to get rid of? And then I just stopped.
You covered it.
Oh, do you echo the same
I
thoughts?
do.
Okay. We're very unified as a team on that one aspect.
Does anybody else have any questions? No? Cool. Well, big
Yeah.
ups to Ashley and Troy for giving their first talk. Yay.
Thank you. I hope everyone had fun analyzing and enjoying the wonderful work of the two of us.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Ashley, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm good.
First of all, you're great, Ashley. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
It's funny because Ashley was like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I'm so scared of public speaking. And they did great, so I'm not sure what that was about. Good job, everybody.